We could do the anti 2, 1. Hi, we're live. I started saying 3 and then I lost my train of thought. And then I'm like, oh, wait, crap, we're live. 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Hi, everybody. Okay. I have like a little cough drop in my mouth, so I apologize. It was to keep me from hacking away. But I'd hate to be rude too. I'm sure my mother is like, oh no, not talking with food in your mouth. Okay, I'm just gonna like put it over here like a chipmunk and then we're gonna be good. Hi, welcome everybody. I'm so glad to see you. Missed you guys last week. So as everybody sort of filters in, let's go ahead and do our intros. Welcome to our NaNoWriMo live stream. Story Detective, let's start with you. Why don't you introduce yourselves to our fabulous audience, and we'll do that.
Okay, well, my channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling, both from my professional life in comic books and studying everyone that I've pretty much encountered.
True, I can attest to that.
Microscope and break down the craft and give it to the viewer to make your craft journey easier. My channel is sort of hit and miss. There are videos coming, but I'm also plotting some things for Nano. I'm doing NaNoWriMo this year, but it's a little bit different. I'm working on 2 things. I don't know if I'll have hope of success, but writing one and plotting another, it's just basically to get more work done. And if one takes off and I make my 50K, great. If I don't, I don't.
Well, I don't know. Is there a law that says it has to be on one project? You could, split it.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, Michelle Schusterman. So glad you're here today. So tell us all about you and your awesome channel.
All right, I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade, young adult, and I guess adult books. And actually, this week I started a new part-time job as a developmental editor for a book packager, which
is
super fun. So far, I'm very excited about it. So
that's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Writing workshops and blogs and traditional publishing chats. Speaking of, are we going to talk about the Penguin Random House getting blocked?
No, okay, let me say this. I have literally been in a snot coma for 2 weeks. We are going to talk about it, but I don't know anything about it. So you were going to
have blocked it. They blocked the merger.
Oh
no.
What? I will put a link in the private chat so you can share.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Okay, so for you guys who don't know, well, here, Michelle, just give us a little like a quick rundown of what of the lawsuit and the fight and the reasons why.
Penguin Random House wanted to acquire Simon & Schuster, which would make them a monopsony. They would totally dominate the publishing industry, and it would lower advances for authors. The Biden administration and the Department of Justice sued them, saying, it was an antitrust lawsuit. And when during the trial in August, they trotted out all of these executives from Simon & Schuster and Penguin Random House and basically exposed themselves for not knowing how their own business actually works. It was a complete embarrassment.
As everyone in publishing already knows, no one knows how it works. But yes.
But it was so, jaw-dropping, and the DOJ ruled for the Justice Department. So it's not we'll see what happens from here. I think Penguin Random House will appeal it. I'm sure they will. I also don't think that'll go anywhere. But the fact remains, Simon & Schuster will be acquired by someone. And if it's like News Corp or something,
right?
How much better off are we going to be? I don't know. But
or just some, VC bros, who are right? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Although I don't know, does anybody see publishing as a quick moneymaker? Yeah. So, I definitely, I'm fascinated to hear what you guys think about this. I'm very glad. I have to say, that, there's always a little brouhaha about these big mergers, and usually nothing happens, and they just go through. And I have to say, I really anticipated that the Penguin Simon & Schuster merger would go through.
Totally.
Or
I thought it would go through. I was happy. I was just happy. I was grateful that everybody got to see publicly all of these freaking executives get up there and be like, yeah, it's kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, gratifying.
Right. And then there was that line about I can't remember what it was, but essentially that that they were saying, like, if there was the advance was less than $100,000, then the author wasn't going to get I don't remember what they called it. It was some sort of like extra something, but they meant marketing. Like, if your advance isn't 100 grand or more, you don't get marketing, like basic marketing. And I was like, oh God, like, it's true, but it's a horrible thing to hear. Yeah. And like someone actually say in a court of law when they're supposed to be telling the truth. So yeah, I know. Drama. Okay. So, hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Daly. Welcome to the channel today. We are going to do our live sprints in addition to our usual publishing drama. And of course, yesterday kicked off NaNoWriMo. So I know a lot of folks are doing that. I'm super interested. You guys in the chat, let us know, are you guys going to be doing NaNoWriMo this year? Before we do that around the circle and talk about what we're going to do this week, I want to say hi to our friends in the chat. Hello, Mary. You were first today. Congratulations. Very nice to see you. StreamYard just jumped. Hello, Nina. We're super glad to see you today. Welcome. Amy's here. Hello, Amy. We're very glad to see you today. Vixen's here. Hello. We're super glad to see you. Dulcie Sabruno's here. We're very glad to see you. She says, I arrive and hear penguin drama, and I'm like, what? So yeah, I know, right? Well, me too. And I'm usually all over this stuff, but I really have like just been in bed and on the couch. I have a lot of TV to report on, you guys. I found a new show, a sick show, right? A show that you binge watch when you feel like crap and you sleep through a little bit of it, but you watch the rest. If you guys like 30 Rock, there is a show. Yeah. I know, right? Here we go. There's a show that is airing on Peacock, which is an NBC streaming service. 2 seasons on Peacock and the third season, I think, on Netflix, because Netflix swooped in and saved the series. But it's called Girls 5 Eva. Oh my God, do you love that show?
I love that show. It's so funny. Oh my God,
it's hilarious. If you love 30 Rock and you miss Tina Fey and you would like to, if you would like to watch an entire show about a girl group with many hits that that sort of give a nod to the famous Muffin Top song from 30 Rock. It's just so funny. It's like
the Spice Girls tried to reunite today.
Right. Well, they'd probably be more successful. It's like if a lower tier Spice Girls tried to reunite, like a one-hit wonder Spice Girls tried to reunite, because the Spice Girls did reunite. Like, they went on a tour and I think they made a crap ton of money. They probably did, because they're the Spice Girls. But yeah, I mean, anyway, it's hilarious. It's very funny. It's like, yeah, it's so well written and delightful. So if you find yourself ill or just needing a good laugh or missing Tina Fey, and she's not in it, but she is an executive producer, and her hand is all over the writing. Like, there's some there's some really like just that kind of quirky, weird stuff, like funny
little one-liners that go by so fast that you're like, what?
What did she just say? I know there was something about a crown. I don't even know what it was. It was like she loved this person so much she like ingested her crown or something. And I can't, like, I'm not doing it justice. It was one of those things where I'm like, did she just say that? And it's so gross, but it was so hilarious at the same time. All right. We are super glad to see you too, JC. We love you. Okay. So Doll says, not doing NaNoWriMo this year because I'm working together with my editor. Very nice. Bonnie's here. Hello, Bonnie. We're very glad to see you today. So let us know, you guys, whether or not you are working on NaNoWriMo. Be like Doll. Doll's a trendsetter today. Let us know if you're working on Nano. What about you, Robert? What are you going to do? This is I know we talked about like, oh, I think I'm going to, I'm not. What's the verdict?
I'm definitely working on it, just not in a traditional sense, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm writing and I'm plotting something else, so it's testing theories, and I'm using it to finish this year and prep for the coming year and see what I want to do. And I have some good plans that I'm excited about. So that's the main thing. So whatever I get done, it's going to, follow through in December and kick off the following year, and hopefully be in a better place than the last couple of years. I think it will be. So
yeah, it does feel like we're finally sort of coming out of,
the fog is clearing. There's little holes being punched in the gray. So
I totally get that. And I completely agree. I feel the same way. Michelle, how about you? Nano or not to nano?
If I do anything, it's just going to be a friend and I have a thing we might want to co-write together. And it might be like a little nano brainstorming, but no, I'm not gonna, nothing official. I'm still trying to finish my revision of my mystery book, finishing an outline for a client. I started the editing job. It's just like, I don't know, the timing of it all just didn't work out for me. I was really, really tempted to, because there's 2 projects in particular I really want to get started on, but it just didn't work out. So no nano for me.
No nano for you. So I'm kicking off nano with a conference. I'm going to the Romance Author Mastermind Conference in Texas tomorrow, and I don't get back until like late Monday night. And so I'm like, okay, and I know I will not write at all when I'm during, in that time. And so I was kind of like, should I do it or not? But I made a really good push on my hockey romance novel, and so I think I can finish it by the end of November. I'm not positive, but I think I can finish it. So it'll probably write less than, well, I probably won't. I always write more than 50,000 words, but I will probably finish the book, and that is my big sort of nano goal. So I don't have 50,000 left on that particular book, but that's my main goal for this nano, is to finish this.
Awesome.
Fantastic. All right. So Swinton says, I'm doing nano this year. Happy to do so. Hold on. Hacking emergency. Talk.
I read the comment. Last year I had emergency surgery, 10 days in the hospital, and brain fog all November. That sucks.
It does suck. Whatever. That's the worst. Thank you very much for executing the emergency protocol too, Michelle. Good job with that. Well, good for you though for doing it this year. Sorry about last year. 10 days in the hospital and brain fog. You're like, okay, November didn't exist last year. I'm just moving forward, right?
So this year is a celebration. You're in a better place. I think we're all in a bit of a better place. So that's great.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Amy says that show is so good. So happy they got nabbed up. Me too. Love it. I thought it was just completely awesome. Sarah, the late night coffee mom, says, hey, Michelle, I love your channel. Yay. We all love Michelle. She's got such great stuff on her channel, such great content. All right. Katie is a reluctant nano participant because I need to get a draft to my editor by December 5th for my February release. Yeah. I feel you, baby. Very, very nice. Very nice. Okay, so Amy says, does 50K in a marketing report count? Best of luck.
Technically, no, because it has to be fiction, but I think people cheat all the time, so why not?
Let me just say this, as a person who worked in advertising and marketing for most of my career, at some level, it's all fiction. All right.
Good
point. All fiction, right? Marketing are just dreams that you put on paper. And anyway.
Well, it's like the Penguin Random House thing in the executives. Most people that are in charge of everything are making it up as they go along, and
Which, on one hand, if you're like depending on those people, is terrible.
Yes.
But on the other hand, if this freaking idiot can run a $500 million publishing company,
exactly,
surely I can publish my own books, right? So we should take this information and just use it to the best of our ability. All right. Yeah. So Swinton is drafting the 3rd book in their murder mystery trilogy. Love it. That's fantastic. Matthew's here. Hi, Matthew. We're very glad to see you today. Morgan's here. Hey, Morgan. Very glad to see you today. Super glad. All right. So Let's see. Doll says better place for her too. Not ideal, but better than last year when I didn't even know if my book would ever get published. And now you do.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited about that. Vixen is doing nano. Going to try not to rebel for the first time. Or rebel. To explain. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Good job. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do a 5-minute warm-up sprint since we want to definitely get some writing done today. Let's see. All right, let me get this up on the screen. All right, here we go. So we're going to do our first 5-minute sprint. We're going to get those documents open, get your water, your big bowl of soup. And then we are going to hit it, get all warmed up. And when we come back, we'll chit chat a little bit more and then we'll get going with our 20-minute sprints. All right, here we go. We're getting started in 3, 2, 1. Sprint. All right, fantastic. So, let us know in the chat what you guys are going to be working on today. Hold on 1 second. I had the video that comes on after the 5-minute video just automatically started, so I had that doo in my head. And even on a general day, that's probably not a good thing. Okay, so we had a really great question in the chat from Matthew. He wants to know, what is A+ content on Amazon? And I can answer that question. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to show you what A+ content is on Amazon. Let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's your regular book listing. And if you scroll down here to the bottom where it says from the publisher, it's these little bars. Actually, let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller so you can kind of see the whole thing all at once. All right, so we have this thing, this graphic treatment. So here the publisher has done Rage Threatens to Tear One Family Apart, Rick Cahill, Battle Shadowy Killers, and An Insidious Disease, Doomed Legacy. And then they use the bottom 3 boxes to do, quotes from other authors, good blurbs. So there you go. So that is A+ content. And your publisher can just put this, just submit it to Amazon and they put it up. It has to be in that weird bar or box format, but it's free. And you can do it if you are indie publishing your books. You can actually do A+ content for yourself. You can do it right through the KDP dashboard. So it's pretty cool. I mean, more people are doing it now. Amazon's been offering it for, it's been a couple of years now, and they do, it is free. I'm sure it won't always be free, but I feel like it makes the book look kind of like a bigger title and kind of splashier.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to do that. I did it for my Become a Famous Romance Author. Let me see. I'm going to pull it up and see if I can.
Famous quote from my design teacher said, presentation is 9/10 of the law most of the time.
Right. Yeah. I think that there's definitely something to that. And I think it makes it look like, like a bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's pretty cool. So, and again, it's free. So it's one of those things where if you have, Canva, you can, just put this up and it makes the book look like a little bigger deal. And it's also a good way to sort of visually represent. So here's the book. And then here's what we did. So this is a little bit different strategy. So this is sort of like, because the book is about how to get booked on television and print, etc. So we did a little social proof of like a bunch of like studio shots. My one time as a magazine cover girl, that kind of thing. So yeah. All right. So that's it. Easy, free, not too hard graphically. There are lots of different ways. I've seen people use them, romance authors use them as like a series of sort of, instead of a series of billboards, use it as one big picture that's just split. So that's kind of a cool way to do it. There are a million different ways, but like I said,
and think about the design, because a bad design won't get you what you want. And it's like we talked about covers and how covers represent your genre, and notice how the design there all mocks the cover. Right. So that's very good design. That's what you want.
Look at that. Extra design, free design tips from Marvel artist Robert Jones. Woohoo. We like that today. So I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're exactly right. It makes the whole thing. And I think that's probably why it helps make it look like a big, well-supported book, is that it's very cohesive. It all works together. So, but it just gives you like extra real estate on that page. So yeah, anyway. All right. And, people are more and more visual. So, all right. Fantastic. So let's look and see what everybody is doing. Guess who's here today? It's Cool Gamer. Hello, Cool Gamer. We're very glad to see you. All right, Michelle, it's you, Doll, and it's you again. Doll, nothing personal, but Michelle's going to take over. Hold on.
I finally mastered thinking of the stream's timer with my device's timer so I don't overstay during sprints. Overstay? Wait, I don't understand.
Ignore and just keep working when the sprint is over.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. I didn't put with that. Gotcha. Lindsay, you're muted.
I said I got it. Thank you very much for that. Bonnie is alternating sprints between a freelance writing project and day job spreadsheets. Got it. Exactly. So Doll says, what is this exactly? I have Canva, so I can do it, but what is it for? So it's just an extra sort of marketing feature that Amazon allows both indie authors and publishers to add to your Amazon listing for free. That's it. You just upload it. Publishers upload it in a different way depending on who their distributor is. But as a KDP author, you literally just upload it under the marketing dashboard in KDP. And yeah, it's pretty easy peasy. The only drawback is that you do have that bar format. So it's bar. I mean, you can use as many as you like, up to, I think, 5 sections. So you do have like a formatting, parameter that you have to work with. But other than that, you have a lot of freedom. Amy says, A+ content is awesome for product descriptions too, keyword opportunities galore. It definitely adds to the professionalism of your presentation, no matter what you're promoting. Good job. Very nice.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about keywords. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do our first 20-minute sprint. And I say that having not pulled up the timer yet. So let me do that really quick. I'm not totally on top of it today. I blame the decongestants, but I think we all know I'm always like this. So, all right, here we go. I've got it now. All right, we're up. I'm always paranoid now after that one time that they're going to show an ad, even though they're not supposed to be any ads on this one.
I guess to while you're looking at that, to further answer Dell's question, a good way to do it would be like they did with descriptions. There could be little quotes from your book that represent, something, interesting happening. And those little boxes on the bottom could be like book reviews from Amazon. You get a good review, put a little clip from it there, little quote. Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do the share. Yeah, it's all, there's so many opportunities, and I would just kind of look and see what other authors are doing. And the great thing is, even though it's been around for a couple of years now, it's not super saturated. Like I do see most traditionally published books do it. And I don't know, I'd say maybe 25% of the indie books that I've seen are doing it, but it just is such a great extra opportunity for your marketing. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do our first 20-minute sprint. We are going to get writing and get those words done today. Here we go. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Sprint.
All right. Fantastic. So how did everybody do on that sprint?
I paid a few bills, actually.
All right. I guess I need to get rid of that banner, don't I? Okay. So good. So Robert's bills are paid. Very nice. Very glad to see that. Michelle, you're still muted. How'd you do on that last sprint? Oh, did I mute you?
No, I got it. It
Okay.
was, sorry. Really good. I got like 2 more scenes outlined, and I think I have 3 to go before I'm done. So,
well,
great.
that's good. I also was not writing, but I was sending an email to the book cover designer. I know, I'm super excited about that. So yeah, fantastic. Very, very nice. Dahl says, I love this. Got back right when the music started. Yay, that's fantastic. All right. So one of the things that I sort of teased earlier was that we were going to talk about some NaNoWriMo strategies for everybody who's doing NaNoWriMo. So so let's talk about this. Like I won NaNoWriMo. Actually, I won NaNoWriMo with 15 Minutes of Shame, which was, which got published. Like I finished it this year, and it got published with Penguin, and then I just got my rights back, as you guys know, last year, and republished it on my own, which is kind of awesome. So I've done Nano several years and not done it other years, and then sort of half-assed it in between. And I'd say like I always write more than 50,000 words because I always have, but as far as writing 50,000 on a single project, I shouldn't say that. I don't always write 50,000 words because like during 2020, I really didn't do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mostly can knock out the word count fairly regularly because it's lower than what my regular word count is. But sometimes I don't like finish the project, which for me feels more like a win than like just hitting 50,000 words. It's actually finishing the project.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So but I've been like pretty successful when I've done it, and on the times where I'm like, okay, I've got to get this finished, with the exception of like 2020. Generally speaking, I think with only one exception, I've crossed the finish line. So let's talk about some strategies for NaNoWriMo and what helps to get the writing going. So for me, I always outline, which of course is not something that works really well for everybody, but I always outline. And the other thing that I do is make sure that I know what I'm writing the next day. I used to have this boyfriend in college whose dad was a really good pool player. Like he was, he lived in New Orleans, and he had been like an attorney and then like a real estate guy, and then in his later years, a pool shark. And what he used to say is, it's all in the leave, as he would try to teach me how to play pool. It's all in the leave. It's all in the leave. Basically meaning like what you leave on the table that sets up the next shot is like more important than other things. Okay. And I think there's some truth to that with writing too, that how you set yourself up for the next day can really have a big impact on whether or not you're successful writing that day. Like whether or not so if you're not trying to figure out first thing in the morning or whenever you start writing what you're going to write, that I feel like it's easier to be successful that way. So let's talk strategy. I know a speed strategy that Michelle will probably bring up. Which is life-changing speed strategy for writing faster, which I agree with, but I'm going to let you talk about that. Okay. I totally agree with it. I'm completely on board. Yeah.
Dictation will help you get a ton of words in real fast. And there's another bonus too. I put this in my newsletter last week, actually. I think one of the biggest reasons is it helps me go faster, other than I can talk faster than I can type, is that if you set it up and then you are like not looking at your screen while you dictate, you're not reading what you wrote, and you're not going back and editing yourself, and you're not getting stuck in that going backwards loop. And if you want to do dictation, you could also try turning your font white, or just like making your font something that you find really irritating to read, so that
Comic Sans
to go back and look. Because I really think that's a huge part of Nano, especially like once you get halfway through and it starts to feel like a slog and you feel like the story is getting there's more problems you need to fix, and it's more tempting to go back and fix and fix and fix. But if your goal is just to finish a draft, then do whatever you can to like stop yourself from going back and reading what you wrote.
Keep moving forward. Yeah, I think I think that like a couple years ago, it was kind of all over the internet and, you know, in all the writers groups about how if you write in Comic Sans, you will often up your word count. And I think because that font is so hated that I don't know, like it's like your brain's trying to get away from it or something. I don't know. But
So
it does. I do know a number of, like I tried it and it did work for me, which I thought was funny. Although, you know, it's hilarious is that even though it makes me write faster, I don't enjoy that particular trick because I don't know, I just don't like comics. I don't like it. So it works, but it's less enjoyable, I should say. Right. So there's that. Story Detective, trips and I can't say it. No, tricks and tips. That's where I'm trying to go with that.
I have tripped over Nano the last 2 years. I haven't won, but the ones that I did win prior to doing it officially, when I used to do it on my own, was through dictation.
Yeah.
Every one that I've won has been dictating, at least in part, if not wholly. And the ones that I've actually written, you need a plan. You pants for a month and you sit down without a plan and you start putting down words because you need to get the word count. And you can't make a plan even for the next day on words that you just put out most of the time. I have pantsed and I have planned, and I am coming back to more of a planner because there is nothing you can do without a plan that's going to be feasible that doesn't require a ton of fixing.
Yeah. I think too that a lot of times people think that if you plan that it takes the spontaneity out of writing and that it takes the fun out and that
It doesn't.
You're right that you're not leaving room for surprises, and I completely agree. I think even just having a basic roadmap of where you're going each day in the scene is helpful, and it does not have to be so detailed that you feel like you're stuck. If you
Your story is always morphing. I look at the plan as a first draft because it's exciting coming up with those ideas, but those ideas are first ideas and they will change as you're drafting to some degree. And they don't tell you how to write your entire scene. So it's still spontaneous. So people that say that generally have little to no experience. And as I've read in a book that I'm reading now, which I agree with entirely, the number of people that pants and have great success are very few.
I am fascinated because, I mean, this is a question I ask for years at writing conferences. And anytime I meet an author, I'm always fascinated to know whether they, and I think Plancer has become a lot more popular. Like I would always really consider myself a planner, but I am more of a plancer because my outlines are specific, but they're not crazy detailed because I do enjoy that, like the fun stuff that kind of happens, especially writing romantic comedy, that a lot of the situations just occur as you're writing and you're sort of visualizing the scene. You know, you're in a coffee shop and you imagine, you know, like what are all the million things that could go wrong in a coffee shop? And so sometimes you have those ideas ahead of time, but I think a lot of times like there's some magic in the moment.
Yeah, I can pants a feasible story, as I'm sure you and Michelle could too, because you understand structure and craft and you can build a story. You know, the 2 years ago when I won Nano, I used Save the Cat and I had no plan going in, just a general idea. And I said, let me use Save the Cat to write this novel. It does work. You can write a novel from Save the Cat, but the characters were completely absent. So what I have is an interesting plot that needs a lot of work.
It needs some characters. It needs some interesting characters to go with it. That's good. Interesting plot is a good place to start. There's that. All right, let's take some comments. Duh, thank you so much. All right, let me say the updated version is a little racier. So if you like, I know you prefer clean romance. Well, I know you prefer clean books in general. So if you would like, let me know and I will give you a heads up on where the smutty scenes are so that you can skip through them. All right. There's that, but thank you. I really appreciate it. All right. Dahl's nano strategy for Nano and most things I write is to turn off social media. For real, turn it off. Very, very nice. All right. So Tasneem has a question. Can I be a ghostwriter without having prior experience? So the answer to that is sure. And I'm sure that somebody has done it before, but it's going to be really hard to get people to pay you to write a book for them if you have not previously written a book.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I don't know if you mean experience as in published experience or just like if you've literally never written a book from start to finish. If you've never been published, I mean, like Lisa said, I would say, yeah, sure, maybe. But if you've never actually written a book from start to finish for yourself, I don't know if you should charge somebody to do it for them.
That is a good point, whether you can do something and whether you should. Now, you know what, though? I read this initially about not like when I initially read it, my thought was that Tasneem didn't have any prior experience writing a book. But it's possible that Tasneem has written books, but never ghostwritten.
Sure.
And so,
in this case, absolutely, you can do that. That's what I did.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? Once you generally that's how it works. You write your own books, and then either a publisher, a book packager, or another author, wants you to ghostwrite for them, and or you ask, like, here's my previous body of work, and like for me, my first before I started, and I don't do a ton of I do some ghostwriting. I certainly don't do it to the extent that you do, Michelle, but I would say like the first sort of ghostwriting example of my work that I put up was the Audrey Hepburn book, which I ghost wrote, but initially was going to be a co-writing situation, but it wasn't a good fit with the other writer, and so he got all the credit and I got all the money and wrote the book. So so that was kind of my first, that was like a midway point where it was like, okay, here's a book I wrote with someone else's name on it. But I also had a number of other books under my own name. So Tasneem, will you tell us, have you written other books, or you haven't written any books at all? I'm curious to know about that. Robert, you sounded like you're about to say something.
Yeah. I hate to say that people with no experience can't do things.
Oh, you
But here's the thing. Out of a room that has several hundred people, there's going to be a couple that have instinctively figured out about 85% of what's going on. And you can look at them and say, wow, you're really talented. You get this.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those people, you could probably do this. But if you're not, and you charge money and you give it to a client and they look at it and it's not clicking and it turns out to be a mess, or they get feedback and they say, you got ripped off, you're looking for trouble.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So I have, you guys know that I often work with other authors doing book launches, and I have, and I also do quite a lot of book coaching, and I have a client who came to me initially for book launch help, but he's writing a nonfiction book, but he's working with an editor that he's paid a lot of money to, and they've done like 3 or 4 passes on this self-help book. And it's not like the editor who helped him clearly doesn't know anything about how self-help books are structured. It's very memoir-y. It doesn't really have a cohesive learning plan for the for the reader. And it ended up being like, for me, I ended up coaching someone I didn't initially plan to coach, and which is fine. He's a great guy, like lovely man. But I feel bad. Like on one hand, I don't want to slam somebody else's work. And on the other hand, this woman should absolutely not be charging people to edit their books because it's terribly done. It's clear they don't have any understanding of the genre, and they definitely don't, even just from this is interesting to read structure, like kind of POV, not even that. So yeah. So, I mean, right. So you could, if you don't have any experience, but should you? That's like another thing.
It's like the same with literary agents. There was like years, it felt like, of people being like, I'm a literary agent, query me. And they have like zero experience. And the ethical issue I have with that is people are putting their careers in your hands.
Right.
And arguably it's the same if you're a ghostwriter, you know?
That's true. That is very
Yeah.
true. And I think this is how I ended up with this sort of accidental book coaching client who was supposed to be a book launch client,
Mhm.
because I thought I can't do, like, he has some really great ideas, but I can't do this. I can't do a good job with a book this bad. And it,
Mhm.
and it, and so, yeah, it's just one of those things.
That's rough.
Okay. So, Kyla says, got the house to myself tomorrow. Might try some dictation. Can't do it with anyone else here.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
I do it all the time. I do
Do
close
you?
my I do close my door. Yeah, I do close my door. Yeah, half the time I'm like on the treadmill, just talking away, blah blah blah. Yeah, exactly. So yes, but the horror geek makes fun of me all the time anyway, so he doesn't care. And a lot of times he has his headphones on, so
Well, and he's a writer, he gets it.
he does get it. Yeah, right. That is true. There's a lot of weird shit you can do if your significant other is also a writer. Nobody's going to judge your, your Google, search history. Yeah. Okay. So Switten says, I want to win one more Nano because I started the first and second books in my trilogy during Nano. Then I'll use November as writing focus month from now on. I love that. That is a great idea. Fantastic. Willie Wilson, writer in Brazil. Hi, Willie. We're very glad you made it today. Hello. Loving these tips. I'm so glad. That's fantastic. Let us know if you have anything. He's got a question right below, actually. So we'll get right to that. Swinton says, I write fast the first act, dictate the second, fast draft the third. I mind map the book in advance and then discovery write all month. Good for you. Nice work.
Sounds like a great process.
I know. Fantastic. Willie says, how do you fast draft? So I assume Swinton will give us a little answer. All right. Swinton says, I just sit in the chair and write. Sprints are key. Speaking of sprints, let's do one.
What a segue.
I know, right? I couldn't let that one go. There are other questions I should probably get to, but you know what? We'll get them when we come back. You can't pass up a segue that awesome.
Right on this one since I have my bills paid.
Ooh, all right, fantastic. Robert is all paid up and ready to write. Okay, here we go. That's time for the word collector. All right. That's stupid and terrible and not very funny, but yeah. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Make this sprint count. fantastic. We are back. Okay. So how'd everybody do on the last sprint?
Good.
All right.
I didn't write anything, but I plotted some stuff. So that's
Always good.
That's good. I'm doing media research. I tried writing on the last sprint and I'm having a little bit of a struggle today. I'm just not like thinking. So I think I'm not quite ready to come back to the writing yet. We'll see how I do. All right, let's see. We had some other comments that I wanted to get through. The question that Willie asked was, how do you fast draft? And Swinton just said, I just sit in the chair and write. Sprints are key. So Michelle, you do that. Don't you do a little fast drafting?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For me is really the way that I get it done quickly, but I do have to plot it out. I learned the hard way that like the last time I had to write my next middle grade novel last month in like less than a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a pretty good synopsis, but it wasn't like a full outline. And that is not something I'm going to repeat. Like it was great at first. And then once I got to the middle, I was like, oh, damn it.
Right. That's the problem. That like the thing. Yeah, the outline solves the soggy middle. That's the thing. Like anybody can start off a beginning, whether you're plotting, not plotting, like you got all the juice, blah, blah, blah. It's the middle that you're going to make better or a torture if you don't have some idea of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Look who's here. It's Eva. Hello, Eva. Very glad to see you today. Doll got herself something to drink. Soon going to get some lunch. Very nice. Willie got 540 words. Not great for me, but not too bad. 540 words in 20 minutes is awesome.
Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Eva says, outlines solve the soggy middle. Yes, absolutely the truth. I did not. I was working, but I was not. I started writing and then I just was struggling, but I had something else today. I need to like put together a media list for a friend. So that's what I was doing, working on a media list.
I don't think the middle is a soggy place. I think the middle is the place where you can get easily lost. But if you understand the criteria behind it, it's all part of the plan. I mean, my nano project, I can show you here the crazy way I plan. On the back of an envelope, I've got.
I'm excited. Wait, hold on. I'm going to make you big. What?
This is the beginning of my nano plot.
Wow.
Everything is there, except
is awesome.
It doesn't have structure and it doesn't have characters. My nano experiment this time is going to be using this book and using this guy's beats to apply all those little story scenes and experiment and see how it works. Nano is a way to experiment. It is an excuse to experiment. And this guy has some things that I haven't seen before. And I want to try it and see how I can pick things up. If it, I'll learn something from his structure. And the whole first half of the book is devoted to character. So you should add this to Save the Cat. If you're a Save the Cat fan, get this, figure out the characters, and then you'll be able to better use Save the Cat.
And then put them on together. I love that. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Willie says, love that about the soggy middle. Do you all have some outlining tips? Yes. Yeah, right. So I have a video on my channel about the 3X structure, which is like a really good, like basic video, but it's kind of fun and it gives lots of examples. So when we do our next sprint, I'll try and put a post up for that. I have always outlined on sticky back 3x5 index cards, and I put them all up on my, you can see right there on my whiteboard, although that one's got post-it notes on it. But for the book that I'm working on now, I've been outlining it in Notion, which works just like my little sticky board, except it's digital and the sticky notes don't fall off when I run the ceiling fan. So
I usually have a notebook or sticky notes too, but I started jotting small little notes on an envelope and I just continued with it when I was on a roll and finished it.
I did that as well with the hockey. I think I told you guys about that. I had the idea for the hotel book, and where I woke up in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep, and I had the entire idea for the book completely formed in my head. And I was in the bathtub until, I don't know, like in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock in the morning or something. So I have the entire novel outlined on my notes. So
I had the
there's that.
story in my head for months, so I had a general idea before I started doing it, and I think that's why it started coming to me fast. And once I had an idea of how it was going to fill out the basic characters and plot, I said I just need to keep rolling with it, get it down.
Yeah. So my favorite 2 outlining tips are, 1, make sure that you have some structure. So for me, I prefer the 3-act structure, but it works really well with romance. Some people like the 4-act. But 3-act is basically Act 1, put your characters in a tree. Act 2, set the tree on fire. Act 3, get your characters out of the tree. And right. So I think that whenever you're, kind of sticking with that basic idea. And then the other thing is, as I'm writing, there are like your characters have a big goal at the, that they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to save the world from the meteor that's, screaming at you, or you're trying to fall in love with the guy or the girl, or you're, whatever their big goal is that they're trying to get to by the end of the book. I always think that there are, and this came from, oh my God, my brain. What is it? There's a book, and I always say, don't buy the book, buy the workbook, because the book is just filled with a lot of stuff you don't need, but the workbook is really clear. And now I cannot, the Marshall Plan. Okay, so the Marshall Plan. So one of the things that that Evan Marshall, who's a pretty big-time literary agent and a super nice guy, one of the things that he talks about is how, as your characters are trying to reach their big story goal, you have like little section goals or chapter goals all the way to reach the big goal, right? You don't just go on page 3 and try and blast the meteor out of the sky. First they got to get approval from NASA, and then they've got to figure out how to, knock the meteor off track, and blah, 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 blah. So one of the things he says that was like, for me, is that in every section goal or in every small goal on the way to the big goal, there are only 2 outcomes. One is that your characters fail to achieve their section goal and they have to go back to like plan B, or they do accomplish their section goal, but then they find out that the problem that they're trying to solve, the big goal, is way worse than they thought. So no matter what, like they're, stumbling and having trouble the entire way until the point where they eventually do. So those are my, even though it was a little convoluted and I'm trying to remember the guy's name, those are my 2 big like outlining tips.
Yeah, mine is similar. My shorthand version of structure is, you have the quarters, and you have the big tent poles, like the first plot point or whatever that launches at the end of the first quarter that gets into the core story, the midpoint, and then the at the end of Act 2, there's the other big one, which things change. The first one is your character hears bad news. He discovers he has an incurable disease. This launches you into Act 2, and then by the midpoint, you learn that what he's panicking and trying to ignore and quick fix has gotten so much worse that he needs to actually get his inner hero on and fix it through that second half of Act 2 until he gets another bit of surprising, disastrous news that launches him into the third act.
Well, and I do love, like, we do need you have to throw some surprises in there. We want some little plot twists. So you got to have that in there as well. So we're talking about it like it's a soup, and I guess it sort of is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's it. There are lots of ways to do it, but I think just starting with any sort of basic structure is going to really help. Oh, Willie says, thanks so much. Help that they'll check out the book. Very nice. Eva says, I learned this year, if I don't fast draft, I won't finish. I think on stories for ages, but if I start writing them, I have an internal timer to finish or I get over it. Well, that's good. That's at least a good thing to know about yourself. All right. We have 12:39 on the clock, and I think that my time. And so that gives us time to do one more sprint. So
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's make it go. All right. I say that, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so disorganized. I can't get the thing to roll. Oh, wait, I'm not disorganized. Look, here it is, up and ready to go. All right, you guys, this means karma is with us. Our last sprint is going to be the best one. Let's make it happen. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Sprint. All right, we are back. Let me get rid of that banner for us. Very, very nice. All right, you guys, how'd you do on that last sprint? Yay. All right, Michelle's still muted. I'm going to mute. All right, it's okay. I got you. All right, so I wanted to get through our, but I've got like grandpa hair going here. I got a little bit of a comb over happening. I'm not sure what that's all about. Look. Okay. All right. So Eva says, I learned this year if I don't fast draft, I won't finish. I think on Stories for Ages. Oh, I think we talked about that last time. Love that. I love that idea, though, that you just got to like hurry up and get through that. Doll says, if we stay with the story for a long time and we're still excited about it, a clear sign the story has big potential with readers. I think that's true. If you can't get it out of your mind, hopefully they can't get it out of theirs earlier or either. Willie says, thanks so much. I'll check out the book, Robert. Willie, thank you so much. This is like such a nice comment. Yes, we will be hosting more over the month. We are here every Wednesday at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. And CO Savvy's here. Hello. We're super glad you made it today. Spence is here. Oh my gosh, we got everybody at the last minute. Hey, Spence, we're super glad you made it today. Dawdling Rider was here. Oh, I'm so glad. Yay. Yay. Woohoo. That's great. I know, right? This was like a good catch-up day today. Very glad you guys are here today. You are always awesome. Coming in late, doing NaNoWriMo this month on a new project. Woohoo! Yay, that is awesome. All right, everybody. I am super excited. I feel like I was actually super productive today, even though I did not write. But I'm feeling really good about it. So we will be here next week, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. Before we go, let's do our little outros. I'm going to start with you, Michelle.
Hello, I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade young adult and adult books, and my channel is writing workshops and traditional publishing chat and writing blogs. Almost had it.
Isn't the hardest, like when you can't get through that? Great. Well, we're very glad that you're here as always. Story Detective, tell us a little about you and your channel before we head out today.
I'm Robert Jones, and my channel is The Story Detective, where I take all forms of storytelling and put it under a Sherlockian microscope and break down the craft and give it to the viewer in hopes of making your craft journey easier. Look, I got through that.
I know, right? Very nice.
And I am multi-genre, and I am planning a new one for Nano and working on an old one. So let's see how this month works out. It's going to be a challenge.
It is going to be a challenge. I feel like you're up to it, though. I feel like we're all up to it. You guys have got this. So I'm Lisa Daly, and I am a formerly traditionally published author who has lived to tell the tale. Now I'm making my foray into indie publishing, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, and if you want to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is an awesome channel to be hanging out. So that was a terrible sentence. It didn't make any sense. It was all, we're just going to forgive me and blame it on the decongestants. All right, you guys. It's been awesome as always. We will see you next week. Happy writing and good luck with your nano projects.
Yes. I should say before we leave, for our group, I do have a private NaNoWriMo group on Facebook called Friends of NaNoWriMo. It's small, has about 30 members. There's only a handful of us doing NaNoWriMo this month, but if you want a place to hang and chat, it's not the wonky Nano site. You're welcome to send me a request, and I will, of course, accept it.
Well, that would be super awesome. You know what you could do is you could drop a link to it in the chat really fast before we go. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, except my chat is all
he does want to do that, but he's not going to.
But on Facebook, if you just look up Friends of NaNoWriMo,
I think I'm in the
comes
group.
up pretty easily. Yeah, you're in the group.
I think I'm in the group, so I'll go grab the link and I'll put it down in the description below if you are watching the replay later today. So, all right, you guys, you are awesome. Thank you all so much for being here today. We love you, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.